Just so you know. All right, it says that we are live on YouTube. It is, what is it? It's Coffee Talk, February 9th, 2021, here at Westlake Charter School. And this is super exciting. We got a little different setup on the screen. We're in like a little quadrilateral. Looks like we're playing Foursquare. I'm excited. Welcome to Coffee Talk, everybody. My name is John Ike. I'm the executive director of our Westlake Charter School. And to this direction, Jen Caillou, that's you.
Mrs. Caillou, your K-8 principal.
And then right over there in the kitty corner down there, Emily, that's you.
Hi, Emily Batten, your Westlake Charter High School principal.
And right here, right in the center of the whole thing is our WAVE president.
Amber Husted, your WAVE president.
It's so funny, you guys. Usually we're like in a column, but the layout's all goofy. Well, it's good to see you guys. We're all here ready to kick off the show. For those of you out there in Coffee Talk YouTube land, already on the screen is the link that you can use to participate in the show tonight. Join the conversation. Go to any web browser and type in bit.ly/WCS, capital C, Offie, capital T, AUK, capital F, ORM. WCF, Coffee Talk Forum. Type that in, the little thing you see on the screen there, and you can be part of the show. We're going to start with some celebrations, so make sure you put in celebrations right now out there. Our agenda is, as it always is, our Coffee Talk format, whether we're in the library pre-COVID and hopefully post-COVID, or whether we're on the YouTubes here. We first celebrate. We'll present some information. We've got some great guest presenters today, and then we'll host a Q&A at the end. But we'll take questions. Ms. Caillou, are we going to take questions throughout the show?
Yeah.
So if you got a question on anything we're talking about, hit that link right there, WCS Coffee Talk Forum. I'll leave it up on the screen, and you can be part of the show. Any unanswered questions, we'll make sure we put out there on the on the FAQs and whatnot. So your celebration here, it's your time. If you're out there watching, go ahead and put in a celebration. What's good at Westlake Charter School? What's good in your neighborhood? What's good in your family? Who's somebody you want to share gratitude for or a celebration of? Team, let's do what we do. Let's dive in and do some celebrations. Who's got this first one? Ms. Husted, I always love dishing the spirit days your way. You want to take this one?
Absolutely. I always look forward to Spirit Days. We've been doing this once a month. Make sure you check out the weeklies and you can kind of see when the Spirit Days are, and they're on the calendar as well. And so last week was Rainbow Day, and we had so many staff members and students participate, and I jumped in on some of my students' classrooms, and it was just all colorful, and it really just added some fun community and things for kids to talk about. So thanks for participating.
Yeah, look at the pictures. I mean, the kids are dressed up, but the teachers, I love it. So great. I love those pictures. Mrs. Caillou, will you talk about this one?
I would love to. So the Great Kindness Challenge just brought a lot of joy on our campus. Every morning in morning meeting and advisory, we just talked about how to be kind humans to our family, to our community, and to our school. And so you saw a little bit of that just sparkled through our community, and I'm just super excited about that. But one of the things that we like to get our community involved in is a community drive, and we did a sock drive, and we were pleasantly surprised. There's a good picture right here of how many socks came in to be donated to our community to help those that are in need right now. And so thank you for all of you that donated, and we hope to do something like this in the future too, to get out and do kindness to our community.
Yeah, I love it when you guys, I mean, Husted, you're in on this, Caillou, the whole team. I mean, you guys were spreading the kindness throughout the community. Hey, Jen, where did the socks go?
Loaves and Fishes is where they're going to end up. Yeah. So, which is a great place to help with people that need to be warm right now.
Yeah, absolutely. Love it. Great job, Westlake. Whoop, I think I went one past. Emily Batten, will you take the 100th day of school?
I was hoping you'd let me take this one. Not everyone may know, but I am fortunate enough to be a part of the kindergarten team as a parent this year. So I got to watch my kindergarten student get ready for the 100th day of school. And having seen what our kindergarten team does when we're in person with the 100th day of school, it was no surprise how amazing they made this event for our kindergartners. They were 100 days smarter. They definitely got to demonstrate their 100 days of smartness as they build towards first grade. And so kudos to our kindergarten families and our amazing kindergarten team for making this day so special.
Is there a Batten kindergartner on that slide there? Can you see him?
I don't. He was wearing a bright yellow shirt, so he wanted to decorate a shirt with 100 dots on it. So I don't know if I see him on that screen, but he was definitely present and excited.
Are you doing a felt marker? Dots, like 1, 2, 3.
Yep.
You're like, well, there goes that shirt.
Yep, Sunday night, that was us. So
I love it. 100th day of school, such good times. Hey, this one, Ms. Caillou, I want you to take this one because I think this is middle school magic right here.
Yeah, and it's actually my announcement or my conversation a little bit later, but I just wanted to celebrate this picture. And particularly what happened, this project is really awesome that I'll speak to, but this screen is something I want to speak to for just a moment. We typically get to celebrate and do this amazing project with our 8th grade students, and some of our middle school teachers get to kind of come over and watch our students live, but because it was virtual and it might have been a teacher's lunchtime, a lot of our teachers from our K-8 got to celebrate and see some of their littler, they taught them in 1st or 2nd grade. 8th graders show this beautiful spoken word, and so I get to share one or two later. But it's just a great way that our students are shining through distance learning and showing that their learning is still happening. And this screen shows so many wonderful staff members that were coming to support our kids as they came in and showed their faces here and shared their work.
And this particular one right here, to be a girl, this one brought the house down.
It did.
Yeah.
And we're going to share it in when this comes out in the coffee talk. It's linked inside the show, so just make sure take a look at it. We'll make sure everybody has access to it.
Love it. Yeah, those are great. I love the spoken word piece. Just a huge celebration that we are really busy this week with all the things kindergarten through 8th grade, but we're also busy with our interviews for our very first Westlake Charter High School teachers, and it has been magnificent. We had over 100 people apply to work at Westlake Charter High School. We have our pick of the cream of the crop. People are applying to work at our high school, and it has been, Ms. Batten, you've been on the interviews. Ms. Caillou, you've been on some interviews. It's been a really successful first round of interviews. Wouldn't you agree?
yes, it's been amazing. It's fun to hear people talk about what it means to be part of this founding team, it's having done interviews for many years, to interview and staff an entire team is really a special moment. So I'm so excited for these educators who are going to help shape our high school.
Yeah, it is amazing. It's like you're hiring a whole grade level. Imagine if you were like hiring, if you had a clean slate, like, oh my gosh, kindergarten won the lottery. We have to hire a whole new team. That's it. That's a whole team you're hiring. So yeah, very exciting stuff. It's been a great week. Hey, families, this is how you participate. That link right there is yours to throw in celebrations and ask questions throughout the show. Ms. Caillou, are there any celebrations that we could read out? Awesome.
There are. So here we will start with our first one is from Carissa Johnson. I love that Carissa Johnson comes and shares every time. Carissa says, I would like to celebrate the 8th grade spoken word event. I am so impressed by all the passion and emotion the students put into it. They are amazing. Speaking of amazing, let's celebrate the 8th grade team, Mr. Eichley, Ms. Gately, Mr. Bailey, and Mrs. Milanowith for making this special event happen in a virtual world. Wonderful. And then I love that her child is jumping into. So Shaylin from 3rd grade said, I'd like to celebrate the students at our school who make it to the meets and do their schoolwork. I'd like to celebrate that too.
Me too.
Good on you, all of our kiddos that are showing up all the time here. And I think we have, can I do 2 more?
Yeah, go, man. Let's celebrate.
All right, let's do it. So we have another celebration. My 6th grader would like to celebrate 6th graders for completing the National Geographic Religion History video. These were pretty awesome. And she would like to celebrate 6th grade again for completing their ELA essay benchmark, informative writing. They've been working very hard on that. They did a lot of prepping for it. Way to go, 6th grade, and way to go, Mr. Lockdev, for being such a good teacher.
Oh, nice. A little shout out to Lockdev.
One more time?
Oh, I said shout out to Lockdev. I love it.
I love it too. We have one last one. I think it might be from this family too. And they said, I want to thank my kids' teachers for keeping them engaged and motivated to the point that they continue to care about the work they are completing. My middle schooler ran upstairs during class to tell me that she got 100% on her history test. She was so excited. My 4th grader runs to tell me that she did really good in her small group, and the teacher gave her a shout out for being a great classmate. She was so proud of herself. Thank you so much for teachers for continuing to guide my kids on the path of being self-confident and self-motivated individuals. And that is from Sherry Cantor. Those are wonderful celebrations. Thank you.
Yeah, it's great stuff. Thanks for celebrating Westlake. If you're still typing out there, don't slow down. When you hit submit, we'll pick it up on the next open slide. Team, let's talk about what's coming up next. Remember, the agenda is always we celebrate, then we share some information, we take some Q&A throughout the show, and this first piece up, we're going to have some guest stars walking in. You know, last month we came out, we talked about reflection, action, transformation, and we talked about our first of the 4 domains of the social justice standards. I talked about identity. Well, tonight we have 3 amazing Westlake Charter School teachers spanning kindergarten through 8th grade who are going to come and talk to us about the second domain, which is the domain of diversity. And they're going to be jumping on here in just a second. I got to click a few buttons and make sure they can get in here. But we are going to be welcoming to the show 3 teachers who, if you know them, you love them. It is Kim Erickson, Amy Rice, and Lila McIver from kindergarten, 6th grade, and 7th grade. And here they come now, our guest stars for the show. Hi, you guys. Welcome to the show.
Hi, thanks for having us.
Yeah,
we're inviting us.
Yeah, we're so excited. We're so excited. We're live on YouTube. The whole world's excited to see your presentation. I'll be driving the slides, and you guys take away the show. You guys ready for me to advance to the next slide? Let's do it.
Yeah, let's get the show on the road. All right, so my name is Amy Rice. I teach kindergarten, and Kim and Lila and I are really excited to present to you just the most recent professional development module in our equity series, which we did on the 3rd of February. It was on the diversity domain. So I think it's important before we really dive into this to just acknowledge that Lila, Kim, and myself, we're not experts in the field of diversity. And we also recognize that we're coming from a perspective of relative privilege when we're talking about diversity. So we're not here to teach you anything about diversity. We're just here to share some of the parts of our reflection and learning journey that we've been on. So, here's where we've been. We started in January talking with our teachers, with our classified staff, with you as families in our community, and with the board about identity. Now we've started to make this transition, this bridge to diversity. And so we launched on the 3rd of February our diversity professional development training. And then moving forward, we're presenting here in Coffee Talk. We'll do that with our classified staff as well. And then we'll also go to the board with that. In March, we're going to be working on justice in action. And then we will be moving into a special 3-part series of professional development brought to us by the Museum of Tolerance. So that's really exciting. So let me see. Can we move to the next slide, Mr.
Absolutely.
Ike? Thank you. So as we're looking at opening up these topics and discussing and reflecting and learning in our small groups, this equity series, we're very aware that it can be kind of uncomfortable for some of our teachers. And so we want to create an environment where our teachers feel safe. They feel like they can be open. They feel like they're supported. And they feel like they are trusted, as well as being able to trust their group members. So as we did that, it was in the spirit of promoting the learning and reflection that we really want to take place. So last month in January, we asked our teachers, what do you need to be able to create this safe environment for you to feel open and to feel supported? And so we elicited some free feedback from them. And then we took that feedback and we created some unique and individualized community agreements for ourselves to work from. And we'll be using these in our small groups as we discuss and learn and reflect and move forward in this work.
Thank you, Amy. I could listen to you speak all day. I love it every time. My name is Mrs. Erickson. For those who don't know me, I teach 6th grade humanities and 8th grade advisory. So there we go. It is with great excitement that I get to share that Westlake staff is going to begin reading the book titled "This Book is Anti-Racist." All staff, both classified and certified, are included in reading this book. We wanted to make sure there were multiple options for teachers to join. So we have options such as Google Meet, small groups. They could participate via Voxer or discussion boards, or even to read the book and process on their own time. We value all learners in this process. So we actually get to begin engaging in conversations after February break. I'm super pumped. And then after this book, we look forward to then read So You Want to Talk About Race. So community, we would love for you to read this book along with us, to engage in time for reflection, for action, and ultimately transformation as we continue in our equity launch series. All right. So as you may already know, our city is one of the most diverse cities in the nation, which makes this work even more crucial. It's directly connected to our Westlake community. So here you see a breakdown of our primary home languages here at Westlake Charter School. Between all of you and your families, there are 32 primary home languages. To me, that's fascinating. I feel so fortunate to be a part of this diverse community where we could listen and learn from each other. So just a little piece of our PD that I get to share with you is we were able to read about someone else's story and reflect on our similarities and our differences using a Venn diagram. And then we were able to get in our quad groups after sharing our community agreements, and we got to just share our experience, what that was like in making the connections and also seeing the differences in each other's lives. So it was awesome. Take it away, Lila.
Hi, I'm super excited to be here. I am Lila McIver. I'm a 7th grade humanities teacher. I'm excited seeing parents here, admin too, and just to share a little bit of kind of I would say the heart of what our professional development with our teachers has been and what really has been the guiding roadmap for this work. And it's really tethered to Learning for Justice's social justice standards. And so just a little bit about these standards that are guiding our reflection and our learning process with our staff. They are standards that apply for every grade level. And then they're split into 4 domains. So we have the identity domain, the diversity domain, the justice domain, and the action domain. The work that we have done in our most recent professional development is focused on that diversity domain. So that's really where I'm going to speak to and take you through these standards so you have a sense of the work that staff are doing as part of this process. So I'm going to, thanks, Mr. Ike. So as you look at the diversity standards, there's standards 6 through 10. They follow those identity standards. And I'm actually going to take some time to go ahead and take you through these standards, just because as we talked as a team, they are really powerful standards. And we want to take a moment just to process them and go through them with you. So diversity standard 6 is students will express comfort with people who are both similar to and different from them and engage respectfully with all people. Diversity standard 7, students will develop language and knowledge to accurately and respectfully describe how people, including themselves, are both similar to and different from each other and others in their identity groups. Standard 8, students will respectfully express curiosity about the history and lived experiences of others and will exchange ideas and beliefs in an open-minded way. Standard 9, students will respond to diversity by building empathy, respect, understanding, and connection. And Standard 10, students will examine diversity in social, cultural, political, and historical contexts rather than in ways that are superficial or oversimplified. Now, I get excited when I read those standards. I get excited about the work that we're doing as teachers, as members of this community. And I hope as you are hearing those too, it makes you excited about this work that we're doing that's so important to this community. Now, during the teacher professional development, the work we did with these standards is we went ahead and we did what was called unpacking these standards. And what that means is we looked at the grade spans. And Mr. Ike, I'm going to have you go ahead and progress to that next slide. Thank you. We went ahead and looked at the specific outcomes for each grade span because they are developmentally appropriate for those ages. And that was our focus on looking at that, reflecting and learning. And so this is just an example of the progression of the standard, of that standard 6. Students will express comfort with people who are both similar to and different from them and engage respectfully with all people. And so you can see that progression across those great ages, just even with the verbs that are used. So we see that K2 outcome. I like being around people who are like me and different from me, and I can be friendly to everyone. To that 3-5 outcome, I like knowing people who are like me and different from me, and I treat each person with respect. That 6-8 outcome, I interact with people who are similar to and different from me, and I show respect to all people. And we get to talk about that 9-12 outcome now as part of our Westlake community. I interact comfortably and respectfully with all people, whether they're similar to or different from me. So I went ahead and took you through that progression of one standard, but these standards are available. You can go ahead and look them up, contact any of us, and we're happy to get them to you as well if you want to dive deeper into those standards and those progressions for all of those diversity standards. That's it for our road show. I think, Mr. Ike, I'm turning it back to you.
Yeah, great work, you guys. I mean, honestly, you took a 2-hour professional development that you led in front of 65 certificated staff members, and you're doing, on Wednesday in front of 50 classified staff members, and you did it in like 10 minutes in front of our community. Great job, you guys. Hey, one quick acknowledgement. I think it's just kind of fun. A month ago, we were like, these are the social justice standards from Teaching Tolerance. But this month, you introduced them as Learning for Justice's social justice standards. Teaching Tolerance, who's been around for a couple of decades and was started by the Southern Poverty Law Center, right? Is that the name? I mean, really a reputable, large organization, just went through a rebrand. They've renamed themselves Learning for Justice, which I think is really an interesting conversation that maybe we can save for another coffee talk. But I love what they've done. I love what they're doing. I love the organization. But if anybody's out there thinking, wait a minute, where'd the Teaching Tolerance standards go? Same standards, new name. So if you're looking up on the internet that you want to see the social justice standards, they are social justice standards. They are produced by Learning for Justice. True story. Did I get that right, MacGyver? Good. Thanks, you guys. Well, hey, thanks you guys for coming out. We are so happy to see your faces on our little YouTube screen, and we appreciate you putting this out in front of us. Night, you guys.
Bye.
Gosh, what an awesome group of people right there, huh? Great. Well, let's see who's up next, team. I think Jen. I'm sorry. Were there any? I blew it. Were there any questions for them? And now they're off air, so I guess we lost them.
There are not any questions,
Okay.
but I would encourage families to ask if they do have questions specific about that topic and the work we're doing. I'd love to hear them. So if you have it, make sure you ask it and put it in there, and we'll address them for sure.
Yeah, I love it. We can even text them and have them jump back on there if there's any questions for them later on throughout the show. Good stuff. Hey, I've got the next section, and I've got reopening schools topic. I feel a little bit like a broken record. I feel like I come out each month now and be like, hey, here's what we know, here's what we don't know, and it's not enough information to really make a full plate of food. Like, I really want this to be rich, but there's still no date. We don't have a date because no school in our area has a date because nobody knows when the rate's going to drop to the appropriate level to reopen schools. And that's a little frustrating for everybody that we can't just put our finger on a date. I heard Elk Grove flirting with the date, and I thought, oh, okay. It's pretty far out there, though, so maybe we can get sooner. Regardless, I'll tell you what we know, and we'll go from there. Look at the kind of state of California educational planning around this topic, around reopening schools. It's really important that we recognize it's really going county by county because each county is opening or not reopening based on their county's case rates. So obviously the case rate, transmission rate for COVID-19 is lower in Placer County, smaller county, smaller population, more spread out. But they're just up the road from us, right? Roseville, Loomis, those guys are all open because their case rate's been lower for a long time. Sacramento County, 1.5 million people, right? Metropolis, we're beholden to our county's case rate. So it's a county by county case rate. It's also a county by county decision making matrices in some respects, and in a lot of respects, district by district, school by school. Which honestly, I get. I love local governance in a lot of ways, but in a global pandemic, it would be nice if we all just worked together. Because to be totally honest, it'd be nice for all of us to be working in unison. So I guess I'm not criticizing the system, but I'm apologizing to our families that there's not more transparent information. It's hard when all these different counties and all these different schools and all these different districts all have different plans and different responses to this, unique global pandemic. So our case rate in Sacramento County is looking fantastic. We've gone from 56 per 100,000 per day average to 24.8. That just came out today. 24.8 is the new weekly average, which is cut in half from where we were just a month, 5 weeks ago. That is phenomenal. Remember, I came out a month ago on the Coffee Talk. I said, hey, it'll probably take 10 weeks to drop, 25 points. Well, here we are. I'm glad I was wrong. So families, keep doing what you're doing. I got a brilliant letter from one of our family members. Maybe I'll share with you on the next Coffee Talk. A family member wrote me a letter. She's a physician, and she said, hey, we need to explain to our community, you want schools open? We all got to wear our masks. We all got to adhere to 6 feet of social distancing. We shouldn't be engaging in behavior that's going to increase the transmission rate, because if we do that, we're not going to get our schools safely open. So I love that letter. I love that message. And I think that's where we're at. Sacramento's doing well right now. So let's keep it up, Sacramento, and let's keep trying to move toward the place where we could reopen schools. Here's the multiple plans that I want you to just kind of think about. I could go in, I could do an hour on this easy, but I will not. But let's think about it. December 27th, the governor's plan came out. And when I was at Coffee Talk last time, I was all about the governor's plan because I thought this is the governor's plan. The governor's over the whole state. We're all going to go with this. This is the plan. Turns out it wasn't the plan. Turns out it was a plan, which was nice. Problem is, the legislators haven't really backed that plan. And a big part of that plan was $2 billion for daily and weekly testing, so that we can have on-campus testing to reopen our schools with higher transmission rates. The idea at the time was, well, maybe it would be safe to open not down here at 7, which has always been the, below 7, out of the purple tier and into the red tier. Maybe it would be safer if we opened up like at a case rate of 25 if we could do this testing thing, because that's how the private schools have been doing it. Private schools, the family's been forking over big money, and they've been, it's like $85 per test. You get the little nasal swab. So public schools don't have that kind of funding. We can't ask people to cough that up. And so it's part of the deal. The governor said, let's come up with some money for testing. Well, that money never got approved. So the governor's plans kind of come unwound because it was targeting February. However, there's a new plan. Now, I'm not going to try and get married to this plan because every time I get excited about somebody else's plan, it turns out the plan unwinds. But there's Assembly Bill 10 is out right now, or not out. It's being negotiated and debated by the legislatures on Capitol Hill. And it's kind of proposing some similar measures to reopening schools safely, which is great news, as the governor's plan, but it's kind of targeting like a March opening. Okay, great. Well, with the case rate going the way it's going, and this type of legislation, maybe that's our go time. The plan I'd like to kind of point back to is the original plan that the state of California adopted for safely reopening schools is part of that Blueprint for a Safer Economy. You can still go to Blueprint for a Safer Economy, the California website, and it gives us that tiered system. Remember, the highest tier was purple, widespread, and that's if the case rate is above 7 new cases per 100,000 people. There's the red tier, the orange tier, and the yellow tier. This is still the kind of de facto tiered system in California that says, when can your barbershop open and when can your school open? And when they originally built these tiers, they said schools can reopen once your county has been back in the red tier I know I'm thinking it's 5 days, but it might be 10 days. Regardless, once you're back on the red tier, that's when you can open. So looking at these three overlapping plans, there's a lot of confusion, I think. People are like, well, when are we opening? I think our safest bet is to still say the governor's plan seems to be unraveling. No disrespect to the governor or his plan. AB 10 might get some traction. That would be helpful and wonderful for all of us. But we still have this original blueprint for a safer economy. I think that's what we designed all of our original plans off of. So I think most schools probably feel pretty good about that. There is this overlap between the plans, and I want to be clear about them. Because originally, back when we did the original blueprint for a safer economy, it was like, are we going to wear masks? Is it necessary? Should my student have to wear a mask? The new plans are starting to overlap on anybody over 2 years old has to wear a mask at all times. So real clear about that. If you're on campus, whether you're a student or a staff member, you'll be wearing a mask at all times. 6 feet of social distance will be strongly adhered to on campus. That's spread out when we're in the classroom, in the hallways, when we're doing our activities outside. Recess won't look like recess, right? The students will stay in their cohorts. If you're in Mrs. Smith's class will stand up, walk out to a play area, stay together, and walk back in and stay with Mrs. Smith's class. So it won't look like it used to look. School will look significantly different. But for those who are excited to come back, I think, we're going to get some benefit out of that coming back. There'll certainly be some payoff. We'll try to maximize the use of outdoor space, especially as we're, inching our way into spring. We had a beautiful weekend this last weekend. I thought, oh yeah, outdoor weather. Let's get that going. And then this is the big one here. The governor's plan included on-campus testing, check, but the money never came through to back it up. So I think that's why it fell apart. Assembly Bill 10 may also have a piece like this. So we're kind of waiting on the sidelines to see if that comes through. Now, we are working with the Natomas Unified School District, some other vendors, and researching on-campus testing. Really, I think a really positive safety feature here. If we can figure out a way to do swab testing, we could really be screening for the virus and making sure that we keep the virus off campus. And so that piece is potentially a part of many of these plans. And so I want to make sure I call it out. I want families to hear that when we reopen schools, it's going to look different than last year. And we're going to take very seriously the safety and health protocols that are mandated by all of these plans. And we'll do it very well. And we will adhere to it because a big part of this is the safety of your students, but also the safety of the people in your family that your students are going to come home to, and our staff. Families are going to get a choice whether or not they want to bring their child back to school or not. And for those who want to stay on distance learning, we'll provide that. But our staff are in a real pickle right now. There are some of them who feel strongly that they feel more safe staying at home. And how will they come to class and serve the families who want to be in class while they're, if they're not here? And so we're going to really adhere to the strongest possible health and safety protocols by default, because we've been saying it since day one. It is important that we adhere to health and safety of our students, our staff, and our community. And that brings up the conversation around vaccinations. A lot of people are saying, well, why would you reopen school like 5 minutes before the vaccine comes out? Why not just give all your people the vaccine and then we'll all feel better about going back? It'd be better for everybody. Well, I think originally that sounds like a fantastic plan, but we know that the vaccine distribution has had, moments where it's stalled out. There's also people who say, hey, look, the current protocols with the masks and the 6 feet of social distancing and the hand washing and the maximizing the use of outdoor space, and especially the use of on-campus testing, that's going to give you a layer of risk mitigation that's going to be extremely adequate to reopen schools. So the vaccine, while isn't necessary, but I think we'd all agree, wouldn't it be nice? So I bring it up because I want families to know that the Sacramento County Public Health Department has announced that Tier 1B distribution, which educators are a part of, is coming very soon. We could hear in the next week or two that Tier 1B is opened up and that teachers would be applicable for that vaccination. And I think that's just a real benefit for everybody. I think everybody feels better knowing that we can get as many people in our community vaccinated as possible. So we have sent home a survey, and I know that we're all like survey fatigue, but we have sent home a survey in the Westlake Weekly just asking, okay, case rates are coming down. We do not have a targeted date. I'm sorry, we don't, but I really can't apologize because I don't have a crystal ball. We don't have a targeted date, but we see the case rate coming down. We see AB 10 and we see the original blueprint for a safer economy making a lot of sense. We see the possibility of on-campus testing, and we see the possibility of a vaccine around the corner. All of these roads are coming together to say, hey, I think we're getting close. It's time for us to say, if we come back to school and reopen this spring, in these next coming weeks and months, what would your family like to do? We put two options on there. We said, hey, what would you do if we were on our baseline model where you were coming to school 2 days a week and distance learning 3 days a week? And what would you do if it was a 4-day-a-week model with distance learning 1 day a week, which is our increased capacity model that you'll recall from the guidebook? We asked both those questions because we don't know if it makes a big difference to families, and we wanted to see that. Like, is there a big surge in the amount of people who would come back if we did X versus Y? So we're interested in that. A lot of it really comes down to the numbers. If all of us come back, we're going to have to go baseline and come back only 2 days a week so we can share those facilities. And so we'll let you know what the data starts to say. We got a board meeting this week on Thursday night, and obviously we'll be keeping everybody informed as the case rates come down, what the targeted plans become. So I know I sound like a broken record. I come out every month and I talk about case rates and all these things, but I wish I just had a crystal clear targeted answer for you. But whatever I told you today would be false. We don't know. Some people are saying, well, after the Super Bowl, our case rate's going to spike back up. I certainly hope not, right? But if I targeted some false date, it would just be a guess. So, Amber, you and I were talking about something before the show. What was your question I was going to hit?
So several parents have asked, and it's been all over social media, what will the classroom look like? Will certain grades be on a Chromebook the whole time with a teacher in the room, or how will that look? And so I think that's one of the concerns when you're filling out a survey is, well, what are they going back to? Yeah,
no, it's a great question. And look, I'm going to hope for the best, and I want you to imagine and assume the less best. I'm not going to say the worst because nothing at Westlake is the worst. And I'll guarantee that we'll be better on our 5th day than our 1st day, and our 10th day will be better than the 5th. And by 2 months of whatever it is we're doing, we're going to get awesome at it. But the reality is we have to figure out how to serve all our students regardless of where they are. And we're in a groove right now. We know how to teach 5 days a week right now. We get up in the morning. We do this. This is how we do breakout. All that's gone. And we're a little nervous about it as teachers, educators. We know how to teach in the old ways, the world we used to live in. Now we know how to teach in this new world. We are asking our teachers in the middle of February, hey, I want you to stop and reimagine school completely. And I know if you're not in the business, you're like, is it really that different? Let me tell you, the idea that half my class is going to be at home and needing my attention, and I know those kiddos need help when they're on the computer. They can't do it without me. And half my class is in front of me, and those kids have been in their homes for 7 months learning with their parents, and they need their parents, and now they need me. The kids online need me. The kids in class need me. This is going to need a lot of me. And I think our teachers are like, how do we structure that so kids get what they need, but also we don't kill our teachers? You know what I mean? Like we have to make it possible. So the current models are, hey, the kids who are at home are going to be doing a lot more independent work while the teacher is with the kids working live instruction. And then when these kids go home, the kids who are online are going to get some live instruction interaction with the teacher. That's mostly the plan in the primary elementary grades. As you get older, the 5th through 8th graders become more proficient with technology, and it may look like your 8th grader who's sitting in your living room today on a Google Meet is now going to be sitting in their 8th grade classroom with a mask on a Google Meet. Because that might be the way we continue meeting our high standards for learning and moving forward, progressing through the standards without slowing down the pace. Because the reality is in elementary school, because you're going to have to split, these kids do some independent learning while they work with these kids, the learning pace is going to slow down dramatically. And I'm not going to apologize for that. If we need to open up school, we're going to have to get everybody situated to it's going to slow down. Now, I think 5th through 8th grade won't slow down, but they'll have the disadvantage of they'll be kind of sitting on Google Meets in classroom. They'll still be on campus. They'll be able to step outside, get breaks, stay 6 feet apart, be around each other. But it won't look like it looked when we left in February for sure. Does that make sense, Amber? Yeah. Yeah, I want to be clear about that. Now, I'm not bad-mouthing it. I got to tell you, we had the best teachers in the business. I want my kid taught by these people. So whatever model they end up starting on day one, I'm not going to complain. I'm going to go, great, that's day 1. How's day 2? A little better. Cool. How's day 5? Ooh, even better. How's day 20? Oh, this is getting good. It's going to be a change process. It's going to slow down. It's going to be clunky. The schedule's going to be new. We're all going to be like, oh, this is a change. I'm frustrated. But it's going to get better, and it's going to get better, and it's going to get better until we get to the point where we're like, hey, this is working pretty well. So, I mean, that's just the reality of it. I think it's a big change. And I think people are going to, we're all going to have to work together. And if anybody, if everybody's looking for a magic, a silver bullet, we would have figured it out already, right? I think we're just going to have to work through this process together and make sure we serve our kids both academically and social emotionally. So it's a big lift for us, but I think we're up to it. Jen, any bubbling questions we should take on this one, or should we bring them back on the Q&A?
We can bring it. I don't see any questions. Okay. I have some comments and a couple celebrations that have come in.
You want to hit a celebration, and that'll be our transition to the next slide?
Yeah, so from the Block family, they celebrated Mrs. Leggett and the 5th grade team for continuing to find new ways to keep our students engaged. They love playing Blook It. I think that's how you say it. Blook It. This is a new game that they're playing in class, which I had it at the staff meeting today, and like about 20 of our staff members raised their hand that they're also doing these, which is awesome. This week we're doing math and social studies. Can I do one more celebration?
Yeah, I love that Block celebrating Leggett. Both amazing teacher families.
That's great. Mary Puente said, I want to celebrate Mrs. Hubbard for having a reading night for her 5th grade class. My son was excited to attend and hear her read the Ichabod together, which was really cool. Ms. Hubbard went above and beyond and invited her students to participate in a special reading night, which was awesome.
Yeah, very cool, very cool. Hey, do you have this next section right here?
I do, and I always think about what I can come and share, and there's so many academic and wonderful things that are happening on our campus, but this one I always like to highlight because it is it's really a collaboration between our staff and our students, and they just produce really quality work, and it's, we watch these 8th graders learn in science and in English class. They learn about Newton's laws in science. They learn about in English class about poetry and figurative language and spoken word and the art of poetry and the way you present it. And then it comes together into this beautiful presentation. Mr. Ike is laughing right now because he's looking at these 2 images here are of shirt designs of students this year. So they get in teams and they design. Mrs. Batten, do you have a shirt on today, I think? She's representing as well one of the students' shirts from years past. And so our students create these shirts to have some puns and have fun. But they work with a local designer, and the designer produces those shirts, and then we sell them. And the kids get to sport them around, and I have quite a few in my closet here too. So, but I wanted to celebrate this because it's just a rich academic opportunity, but it's also just we allow our students to show their voice and to be empowered to speak some of their own truth. And so, like I said in the celebration piece, Mr. Ike, if you go to the next slide, I kind of asked permission of a couple of kiddos and said, hey, if we had time today in our show, we had 2 groups of students just really, I happen to watch these 2, and so that's why I asked their teacher if I could share. But we'll make sure on Friday night that there is a live YouTube where our 8th graders are going to produce and show this to the community as a showcase of this. But I'd love to share at least one of them, if you could, Mr. Ike, of just one of these spoken word pieces. I wonder if it'll work for you. If you click on that,
it looks like it's opening.
Awesome.
This is Jameson's spoken word. Let's see if it. I should open them up in advance. So Friday night is the spoken word where they're all going to be on the video on Friday night.
Yes, it's a live YouTube event to celebrate this student's work.
Phenomenal. Okay, let's see you guys. Let's see if we play.
When I was 3 years old, I got put in a little
I went to full screen. Sorry, Jameson.
league baseball. I felt like I was as good as an MLB player, knowing that I wasn't. I loved it. Me and my cousin were on the same team. We were like the Three Musketeers, but there were only two of us. Everything was great, but then asthma came in. When asthma came in, it was like the friend that's off your favorite song, and it ended. Every time I would run, I would always cough, and it was never a normal cough. Around the age of 8, it was my last season. Me and my cousin played a whole season of baseball. But after all of that, as much as I loved it, I knew it was killing me. After that season, I would run 1,000,000 laps just to play. When I was 4, I got introduced to basketball. I loved it. I loved it more than I loved baseball. But as much as I ran in basketball, it was worse, and it only got worse. I would always get sharp pain in my chest. You can only imagine how it felt. It felt like somebody stabbed me over and over and over again with a knife as big as a tree. Sometimes people will ask, does your chest hurt? I would say no, knowing that it was aching like an earthquake I could only imagine I was in. When I was in 3rd grade, I was at school playing basketball at recess. And here it came. The worst feeling I ever had. That feeling when you're eating your favorite food and somebody slaps it onto the ground. I told the yard duty to walk me to the office because I could barely stand. When I got up, I looked like I was dancing, but I wasn't. I looked like I was dancing, but I wasn't. I got to the office, I kept blacking in and out, in and out. It felt like somebody kept turning off the lights, turning them on and off, on and off. It felt like I saw the sun, then I saw the moon, in less than 5 seconds. My father arrived and took me home. Shortly after, my mother arrived home. I couldn't even tell them what was wrong. I sounded like I was 3 years old, sounding out my first words. But baby, but bottle. So they put me in the car and they took me to the doctor. The doctor gave me a shot and they thought I would be fine. But no, I almost passed out. They had to call the ambulance to come get me from the doctor's office. When I was in the truck, they gave me air and I felt perfectly fine. I felt relieved, but then I felt asthma grab me by the throat, so I couldn't score the game-winning touchdown or the game-winning buzzer beater for the win. At least I thought I was good. When they brought the test results back, the doctors told me my asthma was only getting worse. Every time they said that, it felt like I was a carton of milk on my last glass. I was at the hospital for about 4 hours. It felt like a never-ending car ride driving to no destination. I was ready to go home. But after all that I've been through, I never let it stop me. I've never let it take me down. I've always persevered. I've always had the energy, effort, and execution. I've always had the grit, grind, and hustle. I've always made it work out, even though I would miss 2 weeks out of every month of school. I would always find a way to make it work. You're wondering, where's my asthma now? I get a shot every 2 weeks so my asthma can't take over my life. And look at me now, one of the best football players in 8th grade in Sacramento, getting seen by colleges and lots more. So all I'm saying, if I can find a light at the end of the road, you can too. Never Give Up by Jameson Powell.
Mr. Ickley, that's his celebration. You're going to see the teachers celebrating at the end. That's so funny.
Awesome! Good job!
Oh, there's you.
I'm excited too. How funny.
Sorry, I'm hitting pause. Oh, that was phenomenal. Hey, Jameson Powell, what a superstar. That was awesome. Thanks for sharing that, Mrs. Caillou.
I just wanted to, this experience was his experience, and he, you could hear the figurative language, you could hear his passion. I actually showed it to my husband, and he said, "Is he reading that?" And I said, "No, he's memorized it, and it's true to his heart." And that's it. And I just was proud of him. He talks about having grit and determination, and I've watched that young man develop through our program, and to see him just perform that way just was tender to all of our hearts. I know Mrs. Batten, as she watched it, because I shared it with our group, was just proud of him. So I know we're short on time. The other one on the screen is a very powerful piece, and we'll make sure we get it out to our community. These young women shared about what it means to be a young woman in society, and how sometimes that can be hard, and they can and how they have grown through that too. And so I was just they speak their truth, and I'm glad that they have a venue to do that in a positive way. So I just wanted to celebrate our 8th grade students and celebrate the work that they're doing and the high quality education that they're receiving and that they're producing back for us. So I'm just proud of them. So that's my piece tonight.
Yep. Thanks, Jen. That is great stuff. Hey, Amber Houston, what's up with Wave? Let's do a little Wave talk. What do you got this month?
We actually have a lot going on this month. I'm excited. So we are doing another dinner fundraiser. I do want to put it out there that we've been looking for some small local businesses to partner with, and it's been hard with things opening and closing. But I want to reach out to everybody listening. If you know a local business that would want to partner with us on a dinner fundraiser, please reach out to me and let's get it going. But Chipotle lets you set up a fundraiser every 6 months. Believe it or not, it's been 6 months. It doesn't seem like it, but it was September. So they sent me an email and I set another one up. So March 2nd from 4 to 8 p.m. If you head down to the Chipotle on Del Paso, or you can order using their app, which is super easy, and you just walk in, grab your food, and head home. They give 33% back to us, which is pretty much the most we can find anywhere. So we had to take them up on that offer. So please, we'll be putting this in the weekly, but join us on March 2nd from 4 to 8 p.m. if you can. And then I'm super excited to announce that I just set up a science night, which is with Sierra Nevada Journeys, which we used a couple years ago on campus, but now they're going to have a virtual science night. And this will be limited because it is on a virtual platform. So there's going to be an RSVP that I'm going to put out in the weekly this week, and you can feel free to sign up, and then we'll send you the link. And that is on March 31st. It's a 30-minute program. It'll be a lot of fun, and be sure to be on the lookout for more information in the weekly. But I'm really excited to have something that we can all kind of get together, and it's going to be hands-on using things around your house. So it'll just be a lot of fun to get your family together and build something and kind of laugh and start over again, as we all did when we were in the cafeteria on campus. And then a lot of interesting things happened today. I set up science night today, then a fireworks booth update. I know I've asked for people to help with the fireworks booth a lot. I'm about to sign a contract on an amazing location I will announce as soon as the contract is signed, but it's really good and it's really close, but I need help. I need families to step in, to volunteer, to help lead this. So if we can get like 5 families to kind of split up the duties, that would be amazing. It's a really difficult fundraiser for one person to run. And so I would love to get this going. We typically bring in $10,000 to $15,000 in a week. And so it's just a fantastic fundraiser for our school, but we need help. And a lot of people have been looking for a way to give back and to volunteer and to be part of this. So this is it. This is a big one for us. So please send me an email and let me know if you're willing to help. We already have a couple families that are willing. So we just need 2 to 3 more. And then once again, the Virtual International Festival, we're all very excited about this. It will launch on April 25th. So that will be when everyone will have access to see all of the amazing the amazing information coming from our families. And we have at least, I have to look at my list, but at least 10 families already signed up. And so this can really be anything you want it to be. Mrs. Batten and I were talking a few days ago, and she said something about like a dance. And I'm like, oh, yes, like a dance, or there's just so many different things, music, a recipe. We have people planning to have a video of them making their favorite food, or it could just be a recipe with a picture of it, information, a tradition, a craft, anything you want it to be. We just want to learn about your family and your tradition. So please help us by signing up to volunteer. And there's a sign up right there, and there's a quick Google form, and just tell us what you want to tell us about. That's really what the goal is here, is we just want to learn more about each other and take a trip around the world and just learn about our diversity and the amazing cultures that our school represents. So I would love it if you would help us make the International Festival the best it's ever been.
I love it. I love it. This is a call to action for volunteerism right here. Bring your culture to the International Festival. Bring your family to Science Night, Chipotle dinner night, and let's find some families to lead our fireworks booth. I'm excited to hear about our location. I know location matters.
All about location, but I need your help.
That's right. We can't get the location. We can't get someone to run it. So let's get together, families. Let's do it. High school happenings. Mrs. Batten, bring it home. What's happening at the high school?
All right. Well, I know that some of our families, I'm looking at the video, and I think we're at 749 views. So quite a few of you out there probably watched our facility video. And so what I'm going to share with you today is it maybe not brand new information, but before we jump in and talk about the East Commerce Innovation Center, I do just want to make sure that everyone knows that Westlake Charter School and the Natomas Unified School District that we're working together to locate our Westlake Charter High School program at the East Commerce Innovation Center. And we're going to talk about that tonight, this coming fall. So while the details are still being finalized and will require approval from both board of directors in the coming months, we are excited to announce how we intend to use this facility to launch our new high school. So I'm going to be talking about some of the details for that facility and excited to share that piece. And we're starting with the map, Mr. Ike, because as you so amazingly demonstrated to us, the drive is a short one. So the East Commerce Innovation Center will continue to keep our dream alive of not building a new school, but expanding our mission statement and allowing both campuses to work together in unison. We, in the video, highlighted some ways that our campuses will continue to work together, and we're excited to continue to expand what the possibilities are of that collaboration between our K-8 and our high school campus. I just put a few pictures in here today because I wanted, I've gotten a chance to talk to several of our middle school families, and facility has been a conversation, primarily location. A lot of families who have students that will be learning at both campuses want to make sure that there's feasibility of getting their students to both campuses, and know that that's something that we're thinking a lot about too, how to help support those families. But when I would talk about this facility, like, oh, well, it's a temporary facility. And I would just want to reiterate what I know our whole team is looking at as we plan for this facility, that while this facility may not be our permanent home, it may not be where we live forever, it's a space that is going to be for this freshman class, their home for their freshman year. And another freshman class, their home for their freshman year. And you can't redo those years of high school. And so the intentional investments that we're making with our time and planning are to ensure that that facility is truly a representation of our high school and our K-12 program. And so I think this image demonstrates that perfectly. You're looking at one of my favorite places on this campus. Whenever I come visit, I get to go over there every week, and whenever I come visit, I just go and sit right in that corner that you can see back there, and the windows that are in the back, because the natural light and the nature that is around that space is just phenomenal. And we are so excited to turn this space into our student commons. I've told members of our team over and over again, no one's allowed to call it a cafeteria. It is not being designed to be a cafeteria. It's truly being designed to be the heart of our high school. You think of that student union maybe where you went to college, where everyone would gather and study, and there's food options, and there's a buzz of electricity and excitement and learning, and that's what we are working to develop in our student commons. So it's so exciting to be able to build this alongside the phenomenal team that's on this screen and the other members of our administration team, but also to work alongside our students. So we have, as I mentioned, I think every time I get a chance to talk about our high school spirit council. And so we're being able, in our last spirit council meetings, we were able to survey our students on types of furniture they like. We then were able to take those that feedback to an interior designer who has a lot more vision on furniture than I do. And she came back with these amazing schematics that we'll be sharing with you over the months and just showing you what this space will look like. And so I know people are like, oh, Mrs. Batten, you just get so excited. Is this a pipe dream? No, this is real. This is real furniture and real design that's being put into this space. And we are excited to have our students walk in on the first day and say, oh my goodness, I saw that table on a slide and now it's in my student commons. And so, again, this is just one space that we are excited to design and develop. Another space.
I'm excited about this space, Ms. Batten. Yeah. This is going to be cool.
It's really exciting. I think on our K-8 campus, something that we did so well during the design process was to really maximize the opportunities for outdoor learning, right? I got to walk our K-8 campus with a landscape architect last week, and I, over the months have forgotten some of those elements that we have, and I was showing him, oh, when students are on campus, you'll see them sitting here on this cement walkway. And I know all of you watching have seen that in action too. You've probably sat in those same cement pieces, structures that were intended for that collaborative learning. And so as we look at this space, we have over 10,000 square feet of area to work with outdoors. And we are excited to build a space that has a space for outdoor dining, a space for athletics and recreation, and outdoor learning. And again, working with professionals who are like, oh, absolutely, this is possible in this space. I will put a little call to action. I put in the Westlake Weekly, but keep your eyes peeled. If you are a carpenter or somebody who likes to build, we are going to be calling for your support and your help, because this is a community project, and we're excited to share some plans and say, hey, that round dining table with the tree in the middle of it, can you build that for us? And we're excited to have that piece come to life. And so this space is just going to be another one of those places on our campus that students will collaborate in and come together. And we're so excited to develop it and build it. And again, in the interest of time, I didn't put all the slides in, but so many more things to share about our facility. And we're just so excited about it.
I love the call to action on the construction piece. The landscape architect you're working with is so brilliant, because he's like, hey, I can design all this furniture and I can have it built for you.
Right.
But I can also just give you the blueprints. And if you have family members who have, woodworking materials in their garage, they can build these. And we're like, oh, let's do this. Let's see if we can get everybody with a jigsaw, a skill saw, and a hammer and some nails to put together some really cool furniture that the architect going to design for us and give us the schematics and blueprints for. So yeah. I'm in. I'm excited about that.
And Mr. Ike, I think we've talked a couple times on Coffee Talk just about some of the things around learning that we've learned during this period of distance learning that we will pull for. I mean, the Coffee Talk's an example, right? That we've done this Coffee Talk and it's given access to families who may not have had access in the past. One of the unintended benefits of having restaurants move outside is that restaurants very quickly had to develop outdoor dining spaces where they maybe didn't have one in the past. So the example that we showed from the Beast and Bounty restaurant on our street is a great example of something that popped up quickly, that's really functional, but was easy to design and develop. And so we're excited to be able to capitalize on those opportunities, maybe even acquiring some of that too. We're in talks like, hey, when you don't need that anymore, can we have it?
Yeah, if anyone knows the people at the Beast and Bounty, let us know. That's
right.
great. That's great. Yeah, hey, we'll take it. We'll put a little blue paint on it. Look just like Westlake. Hey, guys, this is maybe the longest we've gone. I mean, we usually end before 7. It's a little after 7. But Ms. Kaya, do we have any questions in the Q&A that we can respond to before we sign off tonight?
We have one celebration and then we have one comment. It's not really a question, but I would love to share both of them.
Sure.
So one is just the celebration and also the call to action a little bit too, is that we have our talent show coming up. And Mrs. Erickson that was on here earlier is very excited about it. And she wanted to announce that there are 35 staff members that are going to participate in the staff dance this year, which is going to be really epic. I've heard the vision today. And also there is a WCS group dance for K-8 students to join via Google Meet. So if you have an explorer at your house that's not really wanting to do a solo act but wants to be a part of the show, make sure to click on the form and sign up for the group dance. Mrs. Erickson is teaching it and it will be really fun, and they're going to do it on Google Meet, and it'll be safe, but it'll be really exciting. So if your kiddo wants to participate but it's not down with the solo act, make sure to sign up. And then just a reminder is that to sign up for the talent show by Friday, this Friday coming up, the 12th. We already have 37 students and different, I'm very excited. We have kids that are playing the guitar and doing karate and lots of very fun things. So make sure to sign up, and don't forget to watch out for when it actually comes out, and our families. It's going to be a great event.
I love it. International Festival, talent show, spoken word, I love Westlake. This place is
Keeping
great.
it alive, that's for sure. We did have one comment, Mr. Ike, and I'd just love to share it. It says, I appreciate Mr. Ike saying they will follow the strongest health and safety protocols. My greatest concern is choosing to send my kids back to school is that I want to follow the science above all else. Not being a scientist specializing in COVID-19, though I depend on trusted sources to let me know what is safe. Fortunately, I trust you all. Thanks for your hard work. Mm-hmm. And I like Mr. Ike, it's something that we've talked to our staff recently about this too, is that can you just remind maybe our parents of who we're working with that are kind of the lead people that in our community that are helping us as we make our decisions too?
Yeah, it's really important. So obviously we're working with the Sacramento County Public Health Department. We meet with them every Friday. The head of the Sacramento County Public Health Department, the head epidemiologist, is Dr. Olivia Casarier. And she's brilliant, and she speaks to us every Friday and updates us as school or district or charter leaders. That's who's in that room on a Zoom call. We actually have asked her if she would come out and do kind of a Q&A for our staff, and so she's going to come out and we're gonna do some staff meeting with Dr. Casaria. Our staff must have questions on, hey, help us feel more safe about the potential reopening. So she's already agreed to do that. We also asked her if she would come out to a coffee talk, and so I think she might come out next month on a coffee talk. I also have the head of the COVID safety planning team for UC Davis happens to be a parent here at our school, and she's also agreed to potentially come out and do a coffee talk. So if I can get some experts out here, we might launch a form in advance that says, hey, families, what questions do you have? We have experts coming on, and I'd like those experts in front of our staff as well, because I agree. I'm not trying to sway anybody's decision. I mean, we want to make sure that when it's time to open, that we do it because it's the safe thing to do and because we're following the science and not because we're feeling, some kind of political pressure or whatever that means. Like, we want to make sure it's a safe thing to do and following the science, but we also want to make sure that we're adhering to the safest protocols and that we're doing it with fidelity. That we're not, on day one we're all wearing our mask, and by day 3 we're like, hey, look at my mask, looks great. Like, we can't do that. If we come back, we're doing this thing right because there's a lot on the line. Our community deserves health and safety protocols. So we are working with Sacramento County Public Health. We're also working with our partners in the Natomas Unified School District. Carol Swanson is organizing their testing response center. But they're also organizing in the Natomas Unified School District a vaccine distribution center. They're utilizing a partnership with the county on that. And they set it up over at Natomas High School, over there by Joey's Food Locker, right in the back by the tennis courts, man. And they're doing a drive-through vaccination center. So if you go to get your vaccine, families, and you get a chance to sign up, you might be signing up for a vaccine distribution right here in Natomas because of the partnership between Natomas Unified School District and the county. And we're obviously partners with NUSD and work with them often on this topic. We've been meeting with Carol Swanson regularly on this topic. So testing, vaccinations, and all those pieces. Is that the answers you were looking for, Ms. Caillou?
Yeah, I just think that's helpful for our community to hear is how connected you specifically, but our team is to just those resources that are really helping us as we make these decisions. I'm glad that we get to lean on those teams and those resources as we make these decisions, for sure.
Yeah, well, we'll be working together, and we'll expect everyone to work together with us, meaning we need everybody to be as committed to this as we are. And that means, daily screenings at home before you come to school. And when you come to the gate and we say, hey, did you do a daily screening at home? And we are doing our screening at school, that we're honest with each other. We say, yeah, you know what? My kid's going to take the day off. We're feeling a little under the weather. We don't send our kids to school sick because that's the worst thing we could do. We don't try and mask it with a little Tylenol. We can't do that in this new era. And so we'll be expecting, the type of collaboration that Westlake does. Our families are the best. Mm-hmm. Look at what we're doing tonight. People zooming into this thing. Our families are the best. So we'll expect that we all work together on this. Any other questions, comments, or concerns in that chat? No? Hey, team, wonderful show tonight. So honored we had Ms. Erickson, Ms. Rice, Ms. MacGyver come on and do our reflection, action, transformation piece. Each of you, thank you for presenting. Families at home, thank you for watching. And as always, let's